The Best Christmas Present in the World, Part 3, Chapter 1, Subject English.
Dear children, good afternoon. So I am ready with the second video for the chapter The Best Christmas Present in the World, okay, for class 8th. I hope you watched the first video where I have explained the first part and the second part of the chapter. And now I am going to deal with the third part of this chapter, okay. So we had discussed that how the author buys a roll top desk, and in a secret drawer of that roll top desk he finds a letter. That letter was actually written by Jim McPherson, the British Army General. About what? About the beautiful Christmas day he had celebrated along with his army with his enemy party. Okay, so it was written during the wartime, during the Great War time. So that beautiful day and his experience on that particular day with his enemy party was innumerable, and he wanted to tell all these things, he wanted to express all these things to his better half. So that's why he writes a letter to his better half, that is Mrs. Coney. But unfortunately, before the letter reaches to Mrs. Coney, Mr. Jim McPherson dies. Okay, and the author finds the letter, and by his curiosity to know what's there in that letter, he reads out, and now he is thinking that how to make that letter reach its actual owner. Who is the actual owner now? Obviously Mrs. Jim McPherson, Mrs. Coney, because it was addressed to Mrs. Coney. So let us see now how the author is going to hand the letter over to Mrs. Coney. Okay, so without delay, let's start. I folded the letter again and slipped it carefully back into its envelope. So after reading the letter, he dropped the letter into its envelope. I kept awake all night, and that night he could not sleep because only he was thinking about the letter and how to hand that letter over to Mrs. Jim McPherson. By morning I knew what I had to do, and by morning he decided that what he should do. I drove into Bridport, just a few miles away, and he drove his vehicle to Bridport. Actually, Bridport was just a few miles away from his place, from the place where he was living, the author was living. I asked the boy walking his dog where Copper Beeches was. I think you remember the address of the lady, Mrs. Jim McPherson. It was house number 12, Copper Beeches. Okay, so he went to search the address. He went to Bridport and he asked a boy who was walking over the street with his dog where Copper Beeches was. House number 12 turned out to be nothing but a burned out shell. And the house number was 12. He went and saw that there was nothing like a house there. It was just a burned out shell. That means the house was completely destroyed. The roof gaping, the windows boarded up. You can see here boarded up means covered with wooden boards. Okay, that means it was not in a condition that anybody could live there. That means it was just an empty, broken house. I knocked at the house next door and asked if anyone knew the whereabouts of a Mrs. McPherson. So he went to the neighbors and he asked the whereabouts of Mrs. McPherson. Oh yes, said the old man in his slippers. From the neighboring house, an old man comes out in his slippers. He tells that, oh yes, I actually know the whereabouts of that lady. He knew her well, a lovely old lady, he told me, a bit muddle-headed. Muddle-headed means somebody who is easily confused. Okay, so that old person tells that, yes, I know that old lovely lady. She is actually muddle-headed. She is actually very confused. But at her age, she was entitled to be, wasn't she? But in such a age, it was very normal to be muddle-headed. 101 years old. So Mrs. McPherson was of 101 years old now. She had been in the house when it caught fire. No one really knew how the fire had started, but it could well have been candles. So she was living in that broken house until it was caught up fire. So one day what happened, the house was caught fire, and then it was totally destroyed. And when it was destroyed, she came out from the house. Actually, she was rescued by somebody. Let's see who was that. She used candles rather than electricity. What can be the cause of the house to be burnt? It was, maybe many were thinking that it was because of candles, okay, because Mrs. Jim McPherson never used electricity. She preferred using candles rather than electricity, because she always thought electricity was too expensive. Mrs. Jim McPherson was thinking that using electricity was very expensive for her. So rather using electricity, she was using candles. The fireman had got her out just in time. So when the house was caught by fire, the firemen they rescued this old lady from that burning house. She was in a nursing home now, he told me, Burlington House, on the Dorchester Road, on the other side of town. So now the old person tells that after her house was totally destroyed by fire, she was rescued by a fireman, and now she is living in a nursing home which is there on the Dorchester Road, and the name of the nursing home was Burlington House. So he suggested the author to go to the other side of town, to the Dorchester Road, where he can find the Burlington House, the nursing home. Okay. Before going forward, I would like to put these two questions in front of you, because you have to write the answers of these two questions. First question is, why did the author go to Bridport? Second question, how old was Mrs. McPherson now? Where was she? So I hope you will write down the answers of these two questions. So let's continue. I found Burlington House nursing home easily enough. So the author drove his car to Burlington House. There were paper chains up in the hallway, and a lighted Christmas tree stood in the corner with a lopsided angel on top. So again you will get to know about the description of Christmas Day. How? Because the hallway in the Burlington nursing house was decorated with paper chains. Fine paper chains were there on the top of the hallway, and a lighted Christmas tree was placed on one corner of the hallway, and on the top of that Christmas tree a lopsided angel. Lopsided means not balanced, okay. So a lopsided angel was placed on the top of that Christmas tree. I said I was a friend come to visit Mrs. McPherson to bring her a Christmas present. So he went there and he told that he was the friend of Mrs. Jim McPherson, and he came there to present a Christmas present to that old lady. I could see through into the dining room where everyone was wearing a paper hat and singing. So he tried to see the dining room where everybody were just in a festive mood. They were singing and they had worn paper hats. The matron had a hat on too and seemed happy enough to see me. So the matron means the lady who was the caretaker of the Burlington nursing house. She was also very much happy to see him. Okay, she even offered me a mince pie. She walked me along the corridor. So that matron, so that old lady, old matured lady, she was very happy and she offered the author a piece of mince pie. Mince pie means a kind of pastry which is made up of mince meat. Okay. So she walked me along the corridor, and then the matron takes him along the corridor. Mrs. Macpherson is not in with the others, she told me. And that matron tells that Mrs. Macpherson never gets into the matter of others. She never mingles with others. She is rather confused today, so we thought it best if she had a good rest. So you can imagine that how difficult it was for a lady who was of 101 years to mingle with everybody. So that old lady never wanted to mingle with all the people over there. That's why she wanted always to remain alone. She preferred to live alone. That's why the matron says that today also we found her a bit confused and we wanted her to take rest. She has no family, you know. No one visits. So I am sure she will be only too pleased to see you. The matron goes on telling that nobody is there in her life now, isn't it? She is all alone. So maybe if she sees you, then she'll be extremely happy that somebody came to especially see her, especially meet her. So I'm sure she'll be only too pleased to see you. She took me into a conservatory with wicker chairs and potted plants all around and left me. And finally, the matron, the lady, she takes the author to a conservatory. Conservatory means a kind of storehouse, and she wanted him to sit, and she placed some potted plants all around him and she left him there. Maybe there the author can find the person about whom he was searching. The old lady was sitting in a wheelchair, her hands folded in her lap. She had silver white hair pinned into a wispy bun. And finally, the old lady, Macpherson, Mrs. Jim Macpherson, was there. She was sitting in a wheelchair. She has folded her hands and she has placed her folded hands on her lap. She had silver white hair. Her hair was totally white in color. It was looking like it was silver coated. And she had pinned her hair into a wispy, means loosely knitted bun. She was gazing out at the garden. "Hello," I said. And she was just staring out at the garden. "Hello," I said. She turned and looked up at me vacantly. When the author tells hello, she looked up and very vacantly. That means she was surprised to see somebody, an unknown person, coming to her and wishing her. She was surprised. "Happy Christmas, Connie," I went on. So the author went on wishing her Happy Christmas. "I found this. I think it's yours." As I was speaking, her eyes never left my face. So then he took out the letter and showed to her and went on telling that maybe it is yours. "I found this." When he was telling this, Mrs. Coney was extremely happy. I opened the tin box and gave it to her. That was the moment her eyes lit up with recognition and her face became suffused with a sudden glow of happiness. When she saw the piece of letter, she was extremely happy and her face was very bright because of excitement and happiness. I explained about the desk, about how I had found it, but I don't think she was listening. The author went on explaining how he got that letter. He went on explaining that how he bought that roll top desk and he was about to repair and he got that letter. But all these things, Mrs. Coney was not at all listening. She was only gazing at the letter. She was staring at the letter. She was extremely happy indeed. For a while, she said nothing but stroked the letter tenderly with her fingertips. For a moment, she did speak nothing. She just patted, she just smoothly stroked the letter. Tenderly means with fondness, with love. With her fingertips, she went on touching that. Suddenly she reached out and took my hand, and suddenly she took the hand of our author into her hands. Her eyes were filled with tears. Actually, it was the tears of happiness. Okay, she started shedding tears of happiness. You told me you'd come home by Christmas, dearest, she said. She said that I know that you had promised me that you will come by Christmas, and today is the Christmas day, and you are with me. You came to me, and here you are, the best Christmas present in the world. Come closer, Jim dear, sit down. From this line, we can say that that old lady, Mrs. Jim McPherson, was thinking our author to be her husband. Actually, she was thinking that her husband, Mr. Jim McPherson, was back to her. Okay. She was actually mesmerized, and by her excitement, she was thinking that the person who handed her over the letter is her husband. I sat down beside her and she kissed my cheek. I read your letter so often, Jim. Every day I wanted to hear your voice in my head. So she went on telling that I love to listen you, my dear husband, my dear Jim McPherson. I wanted to hear your voice every day. She kissed his cheek. She kissed the cheek of the author. Okay. It always made me feel you were with me, and now you are. Now you are back. You can read it to me yourself. Would you do that for me, Jim dear? So she said that always I wanted to hear your voice. So now you are in front of me. Can you please read this letter, which is written by you only to me? Can you please read this to me? I just want to hear your voice again. I would love that so much. And then perhaps we will have some tea. I have made you a nice Christmas cake, marzipan all around. I know how much you love marzipan. So she told that she was in wait of her husband. She was eagerly waiting that when her dear husband will come to him. Finally the day came for her. Actually the person is not Jim McPherson, but she is taking the author to be Jim McPherson, and she is imagining her husband with him at that moment, and she is expressing herself how she wants to share cup of tea with her husband, how she had made the Christmas cake with the marzipan. Marzipan, I have already told you, it's a kind of that on the cake we use it to do the icing. Okay, so marzipan is a kind of edible which is used to do the icing on pastry, on cake. So I know how much you love marzipan, and finally she tells that I know that you love marzipan a lot. That's why I made a cake especially for you with this marzipan. By saying this, the chapter ends here. Please take a look on this question also. Who did Connie McPherson think her visitor was? Okay. And the next question, which sentence in the text shows that the visitor did not try to hide his identity? So please go through the video, watch the video again and again till you get the complete idea of the chapter, and then write the answers of these given questions in your own words. No need to copy others, no need to copy any other websites. Just go on using your own understanding of the chapter. Okay, thank you. Stay home, stay safe.